In this video, I'll show you how to create this 3D animated planet. And if you want the assets and a project file of this video so you can follow along, check out the link in the description below and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. And now let's dive in. So we're gonna get our textures from this website and we're gonna get Mars. Here they have the planets from Mercury, Venus, etc, etc. They have Earth and the sun and moon and stars. So we're gonna get our textures and hop on After Effects. Okay, so I imported our textures here. So let's start with creating a comp, make it 4K, 5 seconds. Let's name it 3D planet. And we're gonna import this here, our Mars textures. So let's add an effect to it called selected CC sphere. And as you can see, it already makes it into a planet. So you can start by changing the radius. Make it bigger or smaller or however you want. I like it around here, like 520. And now to animate, let's go to the rotation, Y, and then quick option or Alt on your keyboard. And we're gonna make time *6. Now as you can see, it's rotating. So now let's go down to light. Make the light intensity higher and the height a little bit more, so it's you can play with the shadow here. So let's do it around like 60, and we're gonna go shadow, specular, and turn that to 0. Okay, so now let's add a glow to it. I like to add deep glow, but you can add normal glow, of course. I'm gonna make this 0.2. and the radius to 1000 to have that glow around it. And with that, let's add some curves to it to make the contrast a little bit. So let's lower this here like that. Now let's go add the stars behind it. So it's this one. So let's go put it under. Now let's add more details to the stars. As you can see, it's a little bit too much dark. So we can do as add a solid and make it like really dark gray. And let's name this background, put it under, and then go to the star layer and make it, change this mode to screen. And as you can see, what it does is just adds more details to that layer. Now let's add the moons. Now fun fact, Mars has 2 moons, so we're gonna add 2 just to make it more realistic. And we're gonna do the same thing. So this moon, I'm gonna add the CC sphere to it, and obviously we're gonna make it smaller. Let me zoom in here so you can see. And let me change the position here to this, offset it to this position here. And we're gonna go to the rotation Y, time *, and I like to make it slower than the actual planet, so we're gonna do half that. So that's 3. And now you can see that. Now let's go back to light. And I'd like to make it lit up a little bit more than the planet. So I'm gonna go to this and just have a little bit of shadow there. And of course, we go shading, specular, turn that to 0. And we can also make it match the color of the planet. So we can gonna add some hue saturation, go to colorize, and make it around this, like 10. We're gonna go add curves to that, just to make it pop a little bit. Let's create like an S curve around this, a small S curve, yeah. And there you go. Now let's create a shadow to it. So I'm gonna add a drop shadow to that. Make the opacity around 75 and the distance around like that, and the softness I'd like to make it around 45. Let's change the angle of that like a little bit like that. So now we have something like this, and let's animate it so it's moving with the planet. So we're gonna go ahead and press P for position, put a keyframe, then go to the end, and you can change that to around here. And as you can see, now it's moving with the planet. So now let's add the second moon, which I got here. It's this one. And we do the same thing. So we're gonna add CC sphere to it. Change the range. I like to make this bigger than the other moon, so make that like that. Over here, change the rotation, time asterisk. I'd like to make this 2. And then go to lighting. Make this a little bit brighter. And then shading, specular to 0. This one is already matching the color, so I'm just gonna add some curves to it to make it pop more. But that's about it. Yeah, like that. Like that. And I'm gonna add drop shadow. Oops, what's that? I'm gonna add drop shadow. The opacity to around 70. Like this, distance, and angle to around around there. Change the softness to like 50 here. And we're gonna do the same thing, position here, and then rotate it to around here. So now you can see it's moving with it at a different speed as well too. You can even go back here and offset it to around maybe like here. Yeah, that's much better. Now our effect is basically done, so we can just add a little bit more details to it. So we're gonna go create an adjustment layer, and in that we're gonna add noise, make it around 15 so it's moving, and we're gonna add some more stars to the scene to make it pop a little bit more. So we're gonna create a new solid, make it white, and let's name this Far Stars. I don't know, what did I write? Far Stars. And we're gonna add CC Starburst to it. So let's change the grid spacing to 1 and the size to around 20, maybe a little bit more, like 35, and the speed to 0. And I like to add the scatter to increase it a little bit, so it's a little bit more randomized, and put this under the planet. As you can see, it adds more stars to the scene, which you can see here, just for a little bit more detail. Now let's create a second adjustment layer and start with the animation. So let's do a camera lens, go to the start, make a keyframe and increase it to around, oh, too much, around like 39. And then go to about like a second or a second and a half and put back to 0. You can just ease them as well by hitting F9. And now you can see how it's really makes it pop and adds a little bit of animation to it. So let's go back to the first adjustment layer. Let me turn this off for a bit. I'm gonna add some curves. Let's create like a slight S-curve here. Just a little bit, just to make everything a little bit pop. And let's go back to that frame. Now let's animate our scene. So let's add a camera. Make it 50mm. And let's go to our planet and our 2 moons. Make those 3D. Then go back to the camera, hit P and R. P and Shift and R, so you can get the frames for the position and the rotation. So you're gonna create a position keyframe and rotation, Z rotation. Make this -10 for the start here. And then go to like 1 second put this to 0, and you can go to here to dolly, so you can zoom in like that. Let's ease those frames as well, and you can see how it really makes the animation pop. That looks really nice. And now let's add a lens flare to this, so we're gonna drop this in. I have this lens flare. Let me up the scale for a bit here, and then change the blending mode to screen and turn down the opacity about 30%. And now to really make it pop, let's add like a dust overlay on top of it, which is this one, the dirty overlay that we created in the last video, so you can see that. And let's turn the blending mode to screen and the opacity to around like 15%. Now we have this, which looks really cool. And there you have it, a stunning space scene complete with a rotating planet, orbiting moons, and a dynamic background. And if you want to learn how to create these overlays here so you can put it on top of your videos, check out this video here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.